I'm giving you your flowers, bro. Y'all need to go and subscribe to this dude, bro. This is 2 plays in a row. He knows what he's talking about, man.
Drew Allar doesn't suck, man. I don't care what nobody says. Drew Allar, that dude does not suck. Been playing for Penn State for 2 years now. Big kid. Got all the intangibles in the world to be great. And people just want to act like, and Manny, you was with us watching the game. It looked like he had no chemistry with those wide receivers at all.
I was?
Yeah. We was watching the Michigan and Penn State game together. You came on and watched that game with us. But he didn't have a great number 1 receiver out there. If you want a comparison, Drew Allar versus J.J. McCarthy.
Oh my God, bro.
I'm just throwing it up there. People want to say he's crap.
No, bro. You always picking JJ.
But you had 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗏 Allen and Nick Singleton who didn't live up to the hype. If we want to do comparisons, you had Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum on Michigan. So they essentially had the same kind of situation. We're having 2 superstar running backs. 2 of them performed at Michigan. 2 of them didn't at Penn State like we thought they would, which you kind of put our foot in our mouths. And J.J. McCarthy definitely had better receivers and a better tight end outside of Theo Johnson that was out at Penn State. But we can't sit here and act like the throws that were made were because it was a fault of Drew Allar. They just had no chemistry, no good offensive weapons.
Don't disrespect Nick Singleton, though. I'm not about to tolerate that.
What? I'm not disrespecting, but to be honest, they didn't show up last year, Manny.
Bro. Cool. He gonna have a lead season this year to watch.
We all collectively had said that they were going to be one of the better duos. And last year, 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗏 Allen had 902 yards. He was definitely the better running back, 6 touchdowns. Nick Singleton had 752 yards and 8 touchdowns. We thought that these dudes were going to get close to having either 900 apiece, or one of these guys eclipsing 1,000 with 10 touchdowns, and another guy, getting to like 800. They were about 500 yards off of that goal.
They still are a duo though, so a lot of like carries are split between them. You got to think about other running backs.
Well, but when you look at their previous year, when they had Sean Clifford on their team, Nick Singleton had over 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns, and 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗏 Allen had 867 and 10 touchdowns.
I don't know
how way better. But also, you had people like Parker Washington on that team too,
and that tight end,
Brennan Strange, yeah. So, but to act like Drew Allar didn't have the weapons to be successful, and it was his first year really starting, and people just don't look at the full picture. Like, they had a lot of big games that they played last year, and that was a lot of pressure on the first year. And then having James Franklin as your head coach, who's all about recruiting, this is pretty much the best talented quarterback that he's had after coming off of having a Sean Clifford type of quarterback who was very up and down. So the expectations for Drew Allar, a lot of people have him in their Heisman as one of their Heisman favorites, or winning awards this year. It's totally warranted. And then you get a bona fide wide receiver who could be a damn near the number 1 receiver at Ohio State, and Julian Fleming that came over in the transfer portal. The only reason he hit the transfer portal is because he's got younger guys on the depth chart that are going to be fighting for a position, and he felt like he probably should have been the number 1. I get it, but people want to act like Julian Fleming is a dude to play around with. Nah, it's going to look totally different out there. And I think the slump that Nick Singleton and 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗏 Allen had with, I know they lost weapons and Olu Fashanu in the draft and things like that, but their offensive line is going to be a little stronger too. There's going to be a lot of more, familiar faces for Drew Allar to be behind now, practicing with the first team offense. This dude doesn't suck. I don't know what people were watching last year, but when you throw the ball on the money and your receiver's not there off a break, that's not a Drew Allar problem. When your guys drop it, in situation. How many drops did he have against Michigan? It was outrageous. And so the second half of that game, when they really started to get on page, it was like they dropped at the beginning and then just weren't totally on the same page on the second half of that game. I mean, he was not a true freshman, but a redshirt freshman going, or a redshirt sophomore, right?
No, he was pretty sure he a redshirt freshman last year.
Yeah, he's a redshirt sophomore this year. So, not having
wait.
supporting cast around you sucks too.
Yeah, if he redshirted, how is he a redshirt sophomore though? Because I thought like if you redshirt, like it's not gonna be on your thing no more.
It will. It carries with you
for the rest of your career. Damn.
Yeah, so you could be a redshirt. You could get redshirted your freshman year, and then the next year would be a redshirt freshman, and your redshirt sophomore, redshirt junior, redshirt senior.
Damn, bro.
It's just a title so people know that like you were redshirted your very first year, or redshirted at some point. I mean, you could be a freshman and then get redshirted your next year if you've never been redshirted before.
You know that.
Fleming, number 3 for Ohio State, is probably number 1 for Penn State. Lambert dip. Yeah.
To me,
Lambert was there.
He will be the wide receiver 1 for Penn State. There's a reason he left Ohio State. I mean, I get that you was talking about the young guys and stuff, but it's not even the young guys that I don't think he was worrying about. He knew he was going to start at Ohio State. It's just, you got to think, Dante. It's not even about them fighting for them jobs. It's about him going to, like, you got to think Cornell Tate is like next to him, Brandon Ennis. They both want to be guys that can move around at wide receiver and play the X and the Z.
But I'm saying Jeremiah Smith is there too, and they want him to start.
Of course. But, like, bro, Fleming, like, Jeremiah would have got a lot of attention, and he will get a lot of attraction. But Fleming, he was trying to be like a guy that could play the Z and the X and just be an all-around guy and not just play one side the whole time. And then that's why they brought Jeremiah in. I think they was expecting Julian to, transfer, but now that he's gone, it's crazy. I mean, Jeremiah could definitely take his role.
Yeah.
A couple guys transfer too.
Yeah, so I mean, overall, if you're saying Drew Allar sucks, that's kind of crazy to put that much pressure on his first year. I mean, by all accounts, a lot of people, you got to think about the road less traveled with him. Not a really strong quarterback room in general. I wouldn't say that Sean Clifford was going to move the needle for him. There was really no competition there. I mean, he got thrusted into the starting role the next year, deservedly so, I think he was a 5-star in Ohio coming over and committed to him. So it's like their best quarterback commit that they've ever had in the James Franklin era. So, that already comes with the territory. Now,
probably their best commit ever.
Yeah. Now, if we had like a Cade McNamara, JJ McCarthy situation happening in Penn State, they probably would have made him a little bit more battle tested to come in there and take the reins. But it was the next man up after Sean Clifford got drafted or picked up by the Packers. So I don't know, man. For a lot of people that's saying he sucks, I don't know if you truly have been watching what the kid did. I mean, it's pretty telling that these were the same stats. And if you look at their situations virtually were identical. Great top 5 defenses, great offensive line. One running back core did better than the other, which we both compared both of them as being, could be the number 1. And we decided to fall on with Penn State, and they did worse than what they did in 2021. So, and when you look at this, the only reason he has more yards and more yards and the touchdowns that he had was because JJ played 2 more games than what Drew Allar played, or 3 more games actually than what Drew Allar played. So, you got to keep that into consideration too when you're breaking, you're breaking everything down. That's all I'm saying. So it don't suck, or he doesn't suck. It's just virtually you have to look at the situations like that. And would you take Jim Harbaugh or James Franklin as your coach? If you had the choice. Exactly. So that's all I'm looking at in the, not looking at it the glass half full, just looking at the full totality of the situation as well. So shout out to Drew. I think he's going to have a good year, and there's a reason why people have him as one of the top quarterbacks as well. Fishing says, I like Penn State, but there isn't anything that tells me that they'll be any better than last year, especially the loss of defense. 9-3, 10-2 as usual. I think their defensive line is going to be pretty good. They got a bona fide edge rusher back there. I mean, they got, Kalen King is now in the NFL. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see. I do think they're going to be better on offense, though. If you look at anything, that was definitely their weak point, and now that totally switched. Losing Manny Diaz is a total kick in the nuts for them, though. But deservedly so. I mean, Manny Diaz was great as a defensive coordinator, and now he's going to Duke. Not sure. I've always been in the camp of when he got sent out from Ohio State, they put him in a shitty situation, and then he got back on his feet. But Manny Diaz has always had to fill in tough situations. Not only being the coach at Miami already has its acclimates of of difficulty, then getting kicked out, having to take a lesser job with Penn State, having to build them back up, and then now you're going to Duke, where Mike Elko left, of having a standard there of winning, which we've never really had Duke as like a winning organization when it came to football. And bam, then you got to kick them down and kick that can down the road. And now Manny Diaz has to come there and have to keep that level of competition at Duke. Now we know Duke academically has its not as struggles, but has its things that you kind of have to play around as well to get the recruits to come in there. They got to have the grades. So that's always been the case with like Notre Dame, but even more so with Duke is, it's a very prestigious school when it comes to academics. So the level of talent that you're going to get there, you probably have to, change the strings of reality to get the players that you want. But Manny Diaz, in all accounts, is going to have a very tough time, trying to get those guys better. If anything's going to be good, it's definitely going to be that defense. That's just what he does. But I would love to see what he does. If he doesn't make it successful in Duke, you can always go back to the academic thing. But I think Manny Diaz just needs to be a defensive coordinator in all regards. I have no idea why he left Penn State, especially in this stage when, you got Drew Allar, who's the best quarterback that they've recruited in years, and just to see how he does, and you get Julian Fleming in, and you still have Nick Singleton and Katron Allen there, and that offensive line is still going to be good. It's going to be a tough position for
bro.
him.
They have like 4 guys that are 5 stars on that offense. Like, come on, bro. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be good. I think Penn State's going to be all right, and I hope Manny Diaz is going to be all right at Duke. That's a tough task. Like, Mike Elko deserves all the respect in the world. We've said that Manny before, like him going to Texas A&M was like a great promotion. He deserved it for what he did, not even with Riley Leonard, but having Dwayne Carter on that team at one point, and just all those guys, and beating Clemson and all that stuff. Shout out to Hayden for not knowing who the coach of Duke was at the time, but it is what it is. Shout out to Coach Ed, man. Appreciate you coming through. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Hope everything's good with you, brother. Thanks for coming through. That have an actual OC this year. Oh yeah, Anthony Poindexter is a unheralded guy who's going to have the defense looking good. We'll see. He's got big shoes to fill for sure. Wish my StreamYard work. I'll get it fixed. Do these more often. I want to cook Ghost Amigo and just talk ball. Yeah, I like doing. If y'all want me to do these handoff shows, man, where it's kind of like prove me wrong, or you agree with me or whatever, I'll try to just do like.
I think I proved them wrong, yo. Why do y'all hate JJ McCarthy? I'm tired of this. Bro.
We don't hate him.
You
gotta be real, man. You just gotta be real. I'm a Vikings fan. I've never been in the JJ hype. Hey, T-Bass, you might want to rewind it a little bit. It was hilarious. Manny Diaz is a small example of Saban. Have to be good, but I don't know if he can do what Elko does. Yeah. It's a tall again. You got to worry about academics and athletics, man. That's you have to throw that in the mix. The big enigma with the Big Ten this year will be out of the new Pac-10 teams matchups. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit this year, but I don't think it's going to look good for the Pac-12 because they've had so much movement. Look, UCLA's got a brand new coach. Granted, the guy should have been there. Then you got USC, who now has a new defensive coordinator, and let's see if they can respond with that. And a first-year quarterback in Miller Moss, and why am I drawing a blank on his name? That kid from San Diego State's come over, and then you got Oregon, who I think is going to be all right. I mean, I think everybody here knows that. And then Jed Fish going out to Washington and recuperating for the 22 plus new starters that went out. Like, it's crazy. I see you work with that Bass Groovy, baby. Damn, I forget. Penn State has Tom Allen as co-DC with Poindexter. They might be all right, man. They might be all right.